So I want to talk about three ugly truths about academia. And I think everybody that is in academia understands what I'm talking about and is not going to dispute any of this. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Massac. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out. So these ugly truths, I think, sort of frame academia and sort of tell the story and why we have a lot of problems in academia. The first one is that everybody wants to be on your paper, but nobody wants to put in the work. And so this creates a very shallow effort by a lot of people on working on a paper. And everybody has been there. They'll all volunteer very quickly to be on a paper, but nobody is going to sit down. Nobody wants to sit down and do the hard grinding work of what it actually takes to do some scientific research. And I know that sounds bitter and awful to say, but this is the truth of the game, is because that there is a lot of competition that happens. And this relates to the second ugly truth, is that there's a lot of gaming and a lot of competition that happens within the academic arena. And it's not a fun thing to say because a lot of people like to play the game. And so what do I mean by the game? There's a surface level game that happens where people are trying to tout how amazing they are and show that they are absolutely wonderful. And you're forced to do that. You're forced to be very narcissistic in academia, even if you don't want to be, because you need to demonstrate to other people on your CV, on your resume, how important that you actually are, when in truth, you're really not that important. So that drives a lot of unhealthy behavior, where people are trying to game things and show just how amazing they are, and everybody else should think of them as better than sliced bread, and they're the expert in this field and the expert in that field and all of those kind of things. And that's a hard thing to take for somebody that grew up in Northern Ontario where a game playing wasn't a big thing. Maybe it was, but I didn't see it. And when I grew up and went into academia and you see that everywhere, it's hard to take. So the third thing that I think is very, very difficult for a lot of people to take is that nobody cares. Nobody cares about you or anything else. The only thing that they're trying to do is show how amazing that they actually are themselves. And I know that this sounds very cruel, but there's very few people in academia that really, really, truly care and that they will reach out and do something. There's only a small number of people that are willing to do that. The vast majority of the people are too busy thinking about themselves than anything else. And I know that that is a really tough thing for a lot of people to come to terms with. But once you come to terms with that, then you start leading your own life. And you start looking around and you say, you know what? I don't care either. And I'm going to lead my own life and take charge of my own life. And it takes a long time to realize that because you're striving so much to get to the point where you have somebody care and you want people to look at you and, give you all of this sort of, hey, you did a really good job. But nobody cares. The only thing that they reward, that academia rewards, is that you have another publication, and it doesn't matter how you actually got there. And I know that sounds really crude and really rude, and people are going to say, well, you're discounting all of my effort and all of that kind of stuff. That is true, but there is a lot of people that try and a lot of people that put in a lot of effort, and they don't get there. The only thing that matters is the outcome. They don't care about what you're doing, all of the work that you're putting in. That doesn't matter. It's one of the few careers that's very much just output oriented. Everything else does not matter. How you actually make it doesn't matter. So these ugly truths are really tough to take. Often for somebody, like myself, that grew up in I had a wonderful family. I'm going to have to admit, I had a very wonderful family, and they really cared for me, and they deeply cared for me. And I grew up in a community that, although it was tough in a lot of different ways, there is a sort of politeness to the community. And so growing up and moving on and doing things that are bigger and better often is very difficult. And what you need to do and what you need to realize is it's you that has to take charge ultimately, and you have to do the right thing. You can't worry about what other people are doing. You can't wait until they come to the rescue and do the things for you. You actually have to take charge of your own life and make it so that you are the one that's being kind and generous and doing the things that you think are right. Ultimately, if you fall prey to the whole academic game, you see it time and time again, over and over and over again. And I'm going to tell you this, there's only a few outcomes that ever happens. They burn out or they die. Everybody goes through that. And you have to take a step back at one point in your life in the academic journey and you say, what the hell am I doing here? Why am I doing this? Isn't there a better way? And everybody that's a senior professor, everybody that's been in the game for a long time will tell you that story. How they, after some time, they had this revelation of, why am I doing this? What is this all about? I want you to reflect on that. I think that's an important thing for all of us to take a step back and say, why am I actually doing this? Figure it out yourself. Be kind, generous, do all of those kind of things. Ultimately, if you play the game long enough, you become the game. And you are that person that nobody else wants to be around. Good luck. Hopefully you make the right decisions going forward.